Yo, what's up? Eric here, and welcome to the hamstring module. So this is a little routine that you can do for specifically to address tight hamstrings. So if you got tight hammies, you know that they limit you in things like bending over, deadlifting, those types of movements, then this is very important. Also, if you have low back pain, specifically posterior bulging discs, herniated discs, or any kind of flexion related back pain where if you hurt your back bending over, or you know that that's a painful position for you, this routine is great, okay? So let's start off with the cross ball ASMR for the hamstrings. So remember this this is also in the main program, the ASMR portion of the hip flexibility solution, but it's very important to do when you got tight hammies, okay? So you wanna put the ball under your hamstrings there. This is a hard lacrosse ball. You could use a baseball, whatever you got. And you're sitting on I'm on this plyo box here. My knees bent to start, and then I'm just gonna roll on the ball a little bit and straighten that leg out. And I'm trying to relax the hamstrings as much as I can and just get the whole hamstring muscles. So you might have to reposition the ball, go a little higher, but always start from bent knee to straight knee and rolling from knee to hip. Okay, so I'm rolling in that direction. And that is the way to maximally release the tissue, the fascia, the muscles, the adhesions in the hamstrings, okay? So you start off ASMR for the hamstrings. Next up, we go to activation. So gonna do some glute bridges here, really basic. Depending on your strength level, you can start off with 2 legs. I always like to do a couple reps just on 2 legs where I'm squeezing the my butt before I go, and then I bridge up there, making sure that I'm using all glutes, trying to relax the hamstrings, relax the low back, because the glutes do the same type of motion as a hamstring, which is hip extension, and if they're not working, another muscle group has to come in and work instead, so compensate. And what muscle group is that? That's the hamstrings. So it's 5 reps times 5 seconds, so I do 2 reps on 2 legs here, lots of glute, no ham, no low back, and then I'd go 1 leg. Same thing. Squeeze the butt first, and then drive up. Hold for 5, breathing naturally, and then relaxing the shoulders and all that stuff. So neck muscles, I don't need to use my shoulders or neck, but they like to come in for some reason when I'm doing these, when you are doing these types of exercises, so relax them. So this is 5 reps per total, so I start off with 2 reps on 2 legs, and I'll do 3 per on my left and my right leg, okay? So that's activation. Now, we're gonna go to some mobility. Let me just move this a little bit. The 1.5 leg stiff leg deadlift. So this is a great movement to isolate the hamstring and to get a pure hip hinge movement pattern. So the hip hinge is when you're tilting and nothing from here up moves, nothing, well, knees bend a little bit, but most of the motion is just hinging at the hip, okay, like that. So the 1.5 stiff leg deadlift really isolates one side, but the 1 leg stiff leg deadlift does the same, but then balance comes into play. This takes out the balance component, helps you really target and lengthen and mobilize the hamstring, okay? So what you wanna do, start off, show you the side view. This is the leg I'm gonna be mobilizing, the right hamstring. Left foot is back and out to the side a little bit, knees a little bit bent, and all I'm gonna do is tilt over and get that hip hinge on this one side. So all my weight's on this front leg, mostly on my heel, a little bit on the toe, big toe and the ball of my foot. Back and forth, just like that. Pure hip hinge, keeping the glutes on, that's very important, because the glutes are what's gonna bring you up from the bottom, okay? If they're not working, the hamstrings will, and that's why they tighten up and they can't loosen up. They get really, really tight over time when the glutes don't work right. So this is both an activation and a mobilization, and it's going from the top down, okay? So the hip movement is coming from the top, and then it goes down the leg. And I mentioned that, so you're gonna do anywhere from 6 to 10 reps on either side, okay? Natural breathing, so both sides, tilting over, weights on the heel and the ball of the foot and the big toe, coming up, using that pure hip hinge, using the glute to drive my hip up. So whoosh, the glute is pushing my hip up, okay? Now, that was top down. This is gonna be bottom up. So this is the elevated knee extension. So got the same plow box here. You can use a bench or a chair if you're at home. Stick the leg up. Make sure your hips are square. So I'll show you another angle in a sec. But hips are square, toes are pointing straight ahead, and posture. You've got good posture, shoulders are back. So you have to adjust the height of your foot. If you're really flexible, you can go a little higher. If you're not as flexible, you go lower. But you want it to the point where that you can keep good posture here, a little slight arch in your low back, okay? So now this is just a little bit tight. This is perfect. So I'm gonna lean forward, get that tension, and then I'm gonna bend the knee, and then lean forward a little more so it's tense. So this is the tension point. This is the starting point. From here, I don't move anything other than straightening my knee out like that. So I'm using the quad, and again, we're taking advantage of reciprocal inhibition. When the quad fires, that helps automatically through a reflex mechanism in the neuromuscular system to relax the hamstring and to get maximal length and mobility in that muscle, okay? So I'm staying tall. You can even go arms up to help you keep that posture and breathing naturally, just like that. 10 repetitions, elevated knee extension. Ooh, that's feeling loose, ready to throw some kicks, all right? So moving on, we have the Cossack. So the Cossack can be a challenge for some people. If it's a challenge for you, then what you want to do is use a support. The Cossack, you spread out wide, feet are out wide, and you're gonna spin this leg up, knees out, dropping down. This foot, try and keep it flat there. Keep that posture up, nice and tall. You can go arms in front of you, like so. Dropping down, trying to relax the hamstring as you go down. So if you need support, not quite as good, you can just go here and then go onto a wall, some kind of pole. This works well. Again, up and down, getting the hamstring. I'm really turning, in this angle you can see, turn the toe right up to the ceiling there, okay? The other thing that I'm doing, I think I got a sliver on that box, awesome, is turn the toe. This knee, got to push it out. Don't let it cave in like that, okay? So when I go down, I'm pushing the knee out, opening up the hips, and then dropping my butt towards my heel that's on the ground. Okay, right there, push that knee out. That's gonna keep the knee safe. So the knee or the thigh is pointing in the same direction as the toe. Okay, when it's going in like that, that's stress on the medial aspect of the knee, the meniscus as well as the ligaments, and that's not good. You don't want to stress those tissues as much as possible. You want to keep the muscles working, not those tissues. Okay, so that's the Cossack. You want to do about anywhere from 5 to 8 reps per side for that exercise. Last exercise is marching. So we're just going to do 20 reps total, and you can move or you could stay in the spot, depends how much room you got. If you do have the room, I like to move, but it's like that, it's kind of like a skipping march. Keeping tall, show you the side view here. Contralateral movement. If you could touch the toe to the hand, that's good. That's gonna bring the mobility as well as the speed. So your ability to relax those muscles in a high velocity situation. So we're hitting all different components. We're hitting the soft tissue with the ASMR, getting activation of the glutes. We're doing top down and bottom up mobilization of the hamstring. We're doing the Cossack, which is frontal plane. Okay, so different plane of motion. Legs are abducted, spread out there, so the groin is mobilized as well. Then we're doing marching for that mobility and speed. Oh yeah, one leg stiff leg deadlift. Well, that was the top down. All right, guys, so that's your little hamstring module. You can do that as a routine before you're working out. You can also do that as a routine on its own. If you've got tight hamstrings, I would recommend doing it daily. So frequency does make a big impact here because we're training not only the muscles, but also the neuromuscular system to relax muscles and activate others. We need to ingrain those patterns on a regular basis to overcome the stuff, the compensation, the bad movement patterns that have been ingrained through different things like sitting or not using your body properly. Okay, guys, so hamstring module, do it up. Make sure you let me know how it goes after a few weeks, of course. It's not a miracle pill. It's not going to happen overnight, but you'll start to feel better gradually. And after a few weeks, you might just go and think to yourself, oh man, my hamstrings don't feel tight at all. I feel great. And that's what I want to hear about. All right, guys, that's why I do this. So do it up, and hopefully I'll hear from you soon. Peace.